Welcome to Wicked Felina. I'm Felina. So there's a second Russian dossier, and it was uncovered by Judicial Watch. They got it by suing to get the information. This right here is Tom Fitton. Sorry, that's Tom Fitton. As you can see by those pecs and biceps. Classified documents days before Trump's inauguration were given to top Democrat Ben Cardin on the Senate Foreign Affairs Committee, which was created by Barack Obama. The intent was an effort to undermine Trump. Heavily redacted and quite heavy to lift, it is not yet known if there is Russian intervention here, as there was in the dossier. So why would they be doing that but to cause trouble? It's funny because they call themselves progressives, but if any alien was whizzing by this planet with our obsession with rioting and, bottles of excrement, and our obsession to mutilate our genitals, I think aliens would just whiz on by, no, too obsessed on that planet, just whiz on by. Wait, that's not an alien, that's John Liveshot Kerry. With 95 million people in America out of work, don't you think that he's got enough to worry about, and Minnie Mao here in North Korea, who's getting ever more and more closer every day to shooting a nuclear missile off, aiming for our country. Truly, America must be the jewel in the crown to the world when we have Congress people like wonderful Ms. Waters here and Ben Carson, who said Haiti might tip over and capsize if too many people were on one side of the island. And of course, she thought that Russia was taking over North Crimea. And another one who thinks that Bill Clinton was impeached for sexual assault. Brilliant. So proud of Obama and our intelligence agencies vacuuming up information just to illegally leak it here and there to undermine Trump. It makes you wonder, what else did they send Cardin? What else did they vacuum up? And why were they doing this? Gee, I'm so confused. So while they're all doing this just to undermine Trump, just to overthrow the government, gain one-party rule, and bring in communism, I'm sure of it, we've got African Americans being killed by illegal aliens. So apparently, this gentleman right here, Manuel Orrego Savala, he's 37. We've got this wonderful investigative reporter that I listen to often, and every time he lists all the crimes committed by illegal immigrants, and every time he says the name and the charge, he has a trumpet or some kind of trumpet playing La Cucaracha. The man is definitely not politically correct, and he doesn't really care. So this gentleman is charged with 4 felony counts. He was driving drunk, and of course he left the scene. He killed Edwin Jackson, the linebacker for the Indianapolis Colts. And the gentleman was deported in 2007 and 2009, living in the U.S. illegally. Jackson was 26, and his Uber driver, 54, Jeffrey Monroe, were standing outside the car when it was struck and killed by Orrego's pickup truck, and was also charged with illegal re-entry. So had a previous conviction in 2005 for drunk driving, and he was given a brief jail sentence for that. A lot of good that did. He said to the judge through an interpreter, "I wasn't driving the car. I don't know why I'm here." So watch some bleeding heart liberal lawyer tried to get him off on some kind of charge, like he was framed, and there'll be riots. Just another case of someone who really wasn't here, driving an imaginary car. And he'll get off on an imaginary charge, like Kate Steinle's killer. There's so many imaginary things in this world, unbelievable. And look, there's that flaming hot cowgirl walking along there with her. She looks so dignified, so dignified. Definitely belongs in Congress or the Senate or wherever she belongs. Look at her shining there. So many imaginary things. Look at how sparkly she is. She's like a flaming hot cowgirl. So apparently no one else was in the truck, or maybe he was in the back seat and he was up front and his feet were driving. Something like that. Remember how Kate Steinle's killer kind of changed his story 3 times? First he was shooting at people, so he actually did it. And then he said he was shooting at seals, which is a $150,000 fine. And you'd have to go to jail, which is more than he certainly got. But then his story changed, and he found this gun all wrapped up nicely underneath a park bench, and with a little note, like that in Alice in Wonderland, "Eat me, drink me." This one said, little note saying, "Fire me, please fire me." Gee whiz. And, please take good care, of my gun. It's an orphan that wandered over the border looking for cheese. A little information here. I'm really surprised that they didn't call him an Indianapolis man, because through the Obama administration, you basically had to refer to them as, the name of the town that they live in, and then either a man or woman. Of course, you'd probably get into a real pickle if he was a transgender, or he, she, whatever. Z was a transgender and you referred to them in the wrong pronoun. What would happen? Then Z would probably sue you. A little side note, a story that I heard from this particular investigative reporter about an illegal alien who had he hit a man on his motorcycle and dragged him like 100 yards or something. I think it was more than that, dragged him to his death, and he was like nothing left by the time he got to the end. And apparently he claimed that he didn't speak English and he didn't speak Spanish, but he was in the country illegally for 10 years. And his lawyer claimed that he spoke some native South American language. And so it took years, and they finally found somebody who could speak that language. And so they dragged the trial on for years. And what do you know, come to find out that he actually did speak Spanish. It's really funny, working in this country for 10 years for an American employer, not being able to speak the language. And this is I guess this is an upbeat story because she had her conviction reversed. Apparently this lady killed 2 girls who were playing in a patch of leaves. She was driving her boyfriend's car. And in Oregon, the statute is that you don't have to, even if you drive away and then you learn that you hurt someone, you don't have to go back. That the driver has no responsibility to do anything, to return to the scene, provide aid, call 911, give a statement to the police, or anything that you would normally do in, a civilized society or America. So this is a very lucky lady. The Oregon Court of Appeals has reversed the conviction of a woman who hit and killed 2 girls playing in a pile of leaves in Forest Grove, Oregon in 2013. The court ruled that the trial court erred in denying a motion for acquittal for Cynthia Garcia Cisneros. A jury convicted Garcia Cisneros in 2 counts of failure to perform the duties of a driver to an injured person in January of 2014. Garcia Cisneros was sentenced to probation and community service, but no time in prison. Garcia Cisneros was arrested in October 2013 in connection with the deaths of 11-year-old Abigail Robinson and 6-year-old Anna Dieter Eckert. Garcia Cisneros drove her boyfriend's SUV through a leaf pile on Main Street in Forest Grove and felt a bump, according to court documents. Garcia Cisneros, then 18 years old, told investigators it felt like a pothole and passengers in the car assumed it was a log or a rock. After arriving home a few blocks away, they looked at the front of the SUV and did not see any damage. Court documents state Garcia Cisneros' brother then rode the bike towards his girlfriend's home and saw the father of Abigail and Anna screaming near a pile of leaves. Anna was pronounced dead at the scene, and Abigail died the next day at the hospital. Garcia Cisneros' brothers turned around and told her that she had hit the girls. Court documents state she did not believe him at first, but then began to cry and hyperventilate. But, her boyfriend did think quick, and he drove the SUV to a car wash and then to his house to protect her, according to court documents. But police received a tip about Garcia Cisneros crying and 2 men examining the SUV. So she was arrested because she made no attempt to contact law enforcement or the family of the 2 little girls. But her attorney was a quick thinker, and he tried to get her an acquittal by saying the state had failed to prove she knew the incident resulted in injuries while she was at the scene of the crash. And then she was taken into U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement custody after conviction in 2014. ICE reported that she was being placed in removal proceedings. However, her case, luckily, was dismissed, such good news, by an immigration judge in August of 2014, and she was released from ICE custody. Sadly, her boyfriend, Mario Echeverria, sorry, I don't have a picture of him. I'm sure he's a looker. Pleaded guilty to the charge of hindering prosecution and was sentenced to 13 months in prison in December of 2013. He was also 18 years old at the time. And thank you, my how smoothly these past 8 years this country has run. And just to lighten things up, take it away, Maxine. And Maxine Waters just wants to add that Trump is not presidential and he never will be. Apparently she just wants someone who looks the part. Why, hello to you too. We just love presidents that look the part. But then again, she goes on to say, make no mistake, he's dangerous, unprincipled, divisive, and a shameful varmint. No, I'm just kidding. That's what Yosemite Sam said. She didn't say shameful varmint. She said racist. But doesn't everybody? And next we have Mel Gibson, and he's decided in that head there and those no socks, looks like it. He's going to make The Passion Part 2. And no kidding, he said it's going to be like an acid trip, whatever that means. I'll see you soon. Thanks for listening. Goodbye. One little kiss from Felina.